Tonight, pointing a weapon, a Fort St. John man arrested and charged. Measles update, no new cases in Norton Health. And Charity Run, a Dawson Creek City Councilor runs 120 kilometers in 2 days. Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with a man in Fort St. John facing charges after police say he pointed a gun at another person. It happened just before 10 Thursday night near 87th Street and 99th Avenue. When officers arrived at the scene, they found two individuals. One was an intoxicated man matching the description of the suspect. The man was arrested for possession of a weapon for dangerous purpose. A black pistol was found and seized by police. The pistol was later determined to be a BB gun. The man was charged and released on conditions. His next court date is scheduled for November 27th. And police in Fort St. John are asking for the public's help in finding a wanted man. Stephen Louis McPhee is currently wanted for driving while prohibited and failing to comply with an order. McPhee is described as an indigenous male. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighs 170 pounds. The 56 years old has black hair and brown eyes. He has a scar on the back of his head and another on his right ring finger. Almost 4 years ago, McPhee was wanted for sexual assault and breach of recognizance. At the time, Mounties said he believed to be evading police and was failing to show up for court dates. If you have any information on his whereabouts, you are being asked to contact the Fort St. John RCMP. The PC Center for Disease Control out with the latest measles update today. No new cases are being reported in the Norton Health Zone since Monday. The case total for Norton, BC this year remains at 77. There is one active case right now in the province, that coming from Norton, BC. The total number of measles cases in BC this year is now at 115. The Fort St. John Senior Hall is receiving a massive grant from the North Peace Community Foundation to complete urgent roof repairs.
We love it that we can help you, and we look forward to continue to work together. So enjoy the new roof and stay dry.
Their senior hall has been awarded $42,250 for the repairs. The NPCF says the money was needed to ensure safety, usability, and longevity of the building. They add the senior hall is more than a building, it's a gathering place. Part of the money was collected through fundraising activities, but the NPCF funded most of the grant. The Fort St. John Seniors Association Secretary Deb Van Dahl says the support from the foundation is truly a gift. The family of Charlie Pollock says after a bitter fight with the province, their daughter's treatment for her terminal illness will once again be funded. CTV's Brendan Stren has covered the story since it began and has more.
I'm very grateful that at the end of this 6 months, the right thing has been done for Charlie.
Relief and gratitude wash over the mother of Charlie Pollock today after a phone call she received from BC's Minister of Health, Josie Osborne.
Letting our family know that funding will be restored, and it will be restored for as long as our family and our medical team deem it appropriate.
It's become abundantly clear that there is significant debate among experts about the criteria that are used in Canada to guide the use and funding of Brineura.
In February, the province defunded Charlie's expensive bi-weekly infusions for her rare Batten disease. It was then reinstated while an appeal process was undertaken. Last month, the province once again ended the funding.
If we take away this drug, she is going to suffer horrific consequences.
Charlie had her first crowd-funded infusion of the drug yesterday. The same day, the province received a letter penned by more than a dozen medical professionals in the Batten disease community, condemning the province while speaking out about the unpublished benefits of the drug. Ultimately, that pushed the province to do an about-face.
And I also sincerely apologize for everything that they have endured over the past few months.
I think this was the ultimate David and Goliath battle.
This is a wonderful end to a very difficult journey.
Charlie's family wasn't alone in this fight. Doctors and advocates from around the world joined forces to convince the government that they were potentially on the wrong side of history.
We hope that a decision like this is now going to precipitate similar outcomes for children around the world.
I don't think that they were a family caught in the middle of a disagreement here. I don't think so at all. I think that they were a family that was on the receiving end of an unjust decision and an unjust policy.
Today, the Ministry of Health confirming that 4 members of BC's Expensive Drugs and Rare Diseases Committee, which made the decision to defund the treatment, have resigned following the province's backpedal.
The situation highlights the urgent need for stronger, more transparent processes, particularly around Brineura.
The health minister also announced 3 immediate actions. First, by asking the Therapeutics Initiative at UBC to conduct an evidence-based assessment of Brineura. Second, the minister has asked the drug maker to request a formal review of the current reimbursement criteria. And finally, BC is calling on the federal government to urgently expedite the implementation of the National Strategy for Drugs of Rare Diseases, giving a consistent national approach to funding.
We go back to spending all of our energy on Charlie and just loving every single day that we have left with her.
What once felt like a potential death sentence for their daughter, today is a lifeline. A provincial decision stained by politics and scientific disagreements, which in the end, for this family, was only ever about Charlie. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Langford.
The BC General Employees Union is getting ready to take a strike vote after reaching an impasse with its employer. Key issues include competitive wages and a modernized contract. The union's proposal cites the rising cost of living as its main motivator for more livable wages. The offer was tabled in late June. Members last took to the picket lines in 2022, resulting in a 2-week strike that significantly affected liquor and cannabis sales across BC. This year's vote to strike is estimated to begin in mid-August. Next week, Jasper will mark 1 year since a wildfire destroyed a third of the buildings in the community. Now, a new report into the fire suggests the Alberta government's involvement complicated the fire response. The report commissioned by the town surveyed firefighters and others who battled the flames. It says the province made things more difficult by requesting information and seeking to exercise decision-making authority even though it wasn't tasked with leading the crisis. The review says the interference disrupted the focus of incident commanders, forcing them to spend time managing issues instead of fighting the fire and leading the re-entry of evacuees. Some of the recommendations include defining organizational boundaries and improving coordination between agencies. Last July, the wildfire forced 25,000 to flee the national park and town site. As wildfires continue to burn across the country, those who've already lost their home to flames are faced with another challenge: insurance claims. And even once they get through the claim, there are concerns there will be trouble when they go to insure any rebuilds. CTV's Alison Bamford explains.
All those sheets of metal was our roofing.
Flynn Scott lost his Denair Beach home in a wildfire last month. He's now sifting through 20 years of memories.
There it is, right there.
Room by room, listing every item that was inside for the insurance claim.
It could be daunting for anyone.
He'll likely forget to add some things, but his biggest concern is finding an insurer when he goes to rebuild.
Why would an insurance company insure you for fire insurance in northern Saskatchewan now?
Brokers say it's too soon to tell how this year's wildfires will impact future coverage, but already there are challenges the further north you go.
North of the 55th parallel, there's only a select few insurers that will insure that cabin.
Insurance premiums are based on trends, and prices have been rising due to increased risk related to natural disasters and increased costs to rebuild a home. Nationally, home insurance premiums are up 4.8% year over year. The biggest increases happening in the prairies.
Alberta is unfortunately and currently the riskiest place to insure in the country, and that's just the result of the floods, the hailstorms, and the wildfires.
Last year was one of the worst years on record, with billions of dollars in insured losses recorded across the country. But experts say so far this year isn't trending in that direction, and although premiums are rising, they aren't going up as fast as they have in recent years. Alison Bamford, CTV News.
Canada Post workers are being urged to reject the Crown Corporation's latest contract offer. The union president says a strong no vote would not only reject the offer, but also protect the integrity of the bargaining process. Canada Post and the union represents roughly 55,000 postal workers. They continue to disagree after more than a year and a half of negotiations. The offer would see wage hikes of more than 13%, but also add part-time workers. The Canada Industrial Relations Board will hold a vote on the proposed deal starting next week. Donald Trump is on the defensive today. He's now launching a lawsuit and denying he has anything to hide about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The U.S. president ordered the release of more documents related to the convicted sex offender and disgraced financier. But the controversy isn't going anywhere. CTV's Camille Caramali is tracking the story as the president is now retaliating.
U.S. President Donald Trump signing a cryptocurrency bill today with no mention of the controversy swirling around him. Trump supporters burning MAGA hats in protest of the U.S. president's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Adding fuel to a growing fire, Trump facing increasing pressure from his own base to release court documents related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
The MAGA conspiracy, which actually fueled a lot of this, suggesting that somehow this was a political elite cabal that was shielding and protecting Jeffrey Epstein.
Trump posting online, "I've asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony." Bondi in response saying they're ready to move the court Friday to unseal the grand jury transcripts. But Democrats want more than just the grand jury testimony about Epstein and his associate Ghislaine Maxwell.
Here's the problem. The grand jury testimony is largely about Epstein and Maxwell, not about all the rich and powerful men who abused, assaulted, and abandoned young women.
This comes as a Wall Street Journal report claims Trump had written to Epstein in a birthday note in the early 2000s that reportedly included a hand-drawn picture of a naked woman. Trump has denied writing the note and threatened to sue the paper. But American news outlets now reporting what's also part of the unreleased files are logbooks for Epstein's private island.
They need to release more than the grand jury testimony. They need to release witness interviews, all of the documents, statements.
All of it driving up the heat on Trump from critics and supporters, including some calling for a special prosecutor to investigate.
The president would not recommend a special prosecutor in the Epstein case. That's how he feels.
Kamal Koramali, CTV News, Toronto.
A new poll finds the idea of being politically correct is gaining steam on both sides of the border. Vancouver-based Research Co. say the concept has increased in popularity amongst Canadians. CTV's Craig Krause has more on how everyone from ordinary Canadians to comedians are navigating changes in the society.
Your typical sounds of downtown Vancouver begin to shift once the sun sets.
Welcome to Comedy After Dark.
It's here where rumbles of laughter leak out onto the streets.
Popularity of comedy, is that growing in recent years?
Oh yes, yeah, comedy's exploded.
Comedy After Dark plays host to dozens of comedians every week, and for Susie Rossum, she has watched the pendulum of material swing.
Well, it felt like it really went one way for a while, and it was very politically correct, but it's like, it's getting to a point where there's a lot more freedom, I think, to say what you think.
According to a new survey from Research Co., about a third of Canadians believe comedians should always or most of the time behave in a politically correct way.
You know, anybody that says words hurt has never been punched in the face.
Aside from comedians, the same poll shows the concept of political correctness is on the rise on both sides of the border.
Well, when we first asked about this question back in 2020, we actually had a larger proportion of Americans, 53%, who believed in the concept of a political correctness. And in Canada, we were at 50%. Last time we checked back in 2022, Canada went to 55%, and now it's at 59%.
Politically, the data shows 45% of Canadians who voted for the Conservatives in this year's federal election reject the concept of political correctness.
There's a significant chasm there that we just don't see with the Liberals or the New Democrats.
Some say political correctness has diminished too much, while others disagree.
I feel like where we are right now, it's like very dangerous.
I think we're just right.
Although some may disagree what's politically correct or not, Rossum says hate has no room in society or comedy.
Be a risk taker, and I think that we need to do more of that in this life in general, not just in comedy. You know, people are People are so safe all the time.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with weather.